Stephanie, are you there? Stephanie?
Yes, yes,
Oh, we're
yes, I am. Hello?
Hold on, Stephanie. We'll talk later. Okay. 15 seconds. Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Klett,
Here.
Wong,
Here.
Miller,
Present.
Larson,
Present.
Jacobs,
Here.
Charles, Wong,
You already did Wong.
oh, I'm sorry, Sanchez, here, Anderson,
Here.
I did Miller,
All right.
yeah. Levy,
Here.
Delgado.
Here.
So I have Charles absent,
Charles absent.
and our three new,
They're not board members
that
yet.
will be board members next week,
They're
are
newbies.
here joining us.
Newbies, wannabes.
Yes,
Soon-to-bees.
soon to be.
Soon-to-bees, right?
Right.
Can I get approval of the agenda, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed?
Hi.
So we are at the exciting part. We have three new board members that we will be swearing in. We have Spencer Anderson. And Spencer, you don't probably remember this, but you were just a little kid when your mom and dad put my school board sign in their yard back in 2006. And then welcome to Amy Levy. I don't know you a whole lot. I just remember you came to a school board meeting and the passion that you had was phenomenal. So I know you're going to be a great board member. And Maria Delgado, I don't know you at all, but Wendy Sanchez, who I respect a lot, I called her and asked about you, and she said she's going to be a phenomenal board member. She's really good. So welcome. All three of you, welcome. So if you'd stand out front, keep your spacing, and Wendy will swear you in.
Kyle, can you?
Hold it for you. Also, she's got
Oh, okay. You're so awesome, Kyle. Okay. So what I'm going to do, you guys will repeat after me. When I say your name, you'll say your name, and then repeat everything else that I say, okay? And you want to raise your right hand, and we'll start now. I say your name. Maria Delgado. Having been elected. To the office of school board member. Swear that I will support. The Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin. And will faithfully and impartially. Discharge the duties of said office. To the best of my ability. So help me God. Okay.
Okay, you have before you your declarations of interest that you have already completed. I don't know if you've been explained to what each of those things are. Are you familiar with what is on this piece of paper? With the different committees and the different positions on the school board? Okay, so when I look at this, I don't know how much discussion that you want. It's pretty self-explanatory as far as what we have. We have, it looks like for president, we have two people interested in Kyle and Amy as their primary interest, if I'm reading it correctly. For vice president, I have one person, that's a 5, that's Megan. 3 4s, Amy, Stephanie, and John. For treasurer, we have nobody jumping off the page as a 5, but we have a couple 3s in Maria and Megan. And for clerk, we have Stephanie as a 4.
Excuse me, Jeff.
Yes.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I put a 5 for treasurer.
It says right here that
FYI.
you're a 1, but we can make it a 5 if you want, so everybody can correct their paper that Stephanie would love to be treasurer, and she would be the only 5.
And I apologize. I don't have any written documents in front of me, everybody. I do apologize for that.
You don't have to apologize.
I'll email it to you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
So we're going to have a couple people that will serve on 2 committees, and we had everybody that would be willing to serve 2 except 1. And the same for the different times at 4 o'clock. Some of you can make it, some of you can't. So depending on the committee, be cognizant of those that might meet at 4 o'clock. Planning and budget. Chair, we have Megan, and John both feel very strongly about being the chair of that committee. The it says Planning and Budget Committee twice. Oh, that's committee. So we've got Spencer and Kyle and Megan that would like to be on that committee. Oversight Finance, we've got Stephanie and Kyle and Amy have strong interests as well. And Oversight Finance, we have Stephanie at a 5, Amy at a 4, and the rest are 3s with 1. It's important for you to know that whoever is the president will make the decision as to who the chair is and assign the appropriate people. You don't always get what you want because some of you have multiple interests, so please don't be offended if you're not chosen by whoever that president's going to be. So we have the Policy Personnel Chair. We have Stephanie and Amy both as 5s. Policy Personnel Committee, Stephanie and Amy as 5s. CISA 2 rep, again, that'll be appointed. Megan, you're at a 5. You must really like that job you did this year, didn't you? Yeah, I love it. I know you do. That's why it's nice to see passion. I had that job too, and I didn't like it. Your WSB delegate alternate or WSB delegate, we've got Stephanie as a 5, Amy as a 5, John as a 4. I think John, you were a delegate last year, were you not? And you found it to be a great experience.
Yes, I did. It was a great experience going to the convention. You learn a lot. I think that we should have more than one representative going there, though.
I would recommend especially the new board members, if you can make the WCB conference, go. I know I've gone in the past. It's a lot of information. You meet a lot of people from different areas of the state. It really is an educational experience for a board member. The employee relations position, we've got Spencer, Maria, and Stephanie all at 5s. And the Merrill Community I can't even say that. Revitalization. We got Maria as a 4 as the person that has the most interest in that. The Ledge representative, Amy and Megan are both 5s on that. The committee chair appointments, the Park and Rec, we've got Spencer, you're the leader as a 4. And then I know, Sue, you will appoint the alcohol and beverage, which I've done in the past, which, by the way, I like that. And it's a short meeting, but you really get to get involved in some different things in town.
They meet once a month, I think, is it
Tuesday.
4?
Yep.
And so we need to know if somebody has an interest in that committee as well, for that appointment.
Yeah, you'll work with as a committee of the city council. And yes, Amy.
On our survey, it said that the Merrill Community Revitalization, that was currently inactive. Has that changed at all?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay.
Mr. President, if it does, I would let you know. I try to check with them like every year or every other year. And Rory Owens used to be like in charge of that. He's one of our, or was one of our custodians, and now he works for ABM. So I usually try to check with him and say, if you ever become active again, will you let me know? Because we used to delegate a board member to serve as a representative. So he usually tries to remember to let me know if they become active again.
By the way, Spencer, your brother was on the alcohol and beverage when I was there, so you might want to team up with your brother. And then we have the TIF rep, which Amy has a 4, and we have several 3s on that. I'm not really, unless you want a lot of discussion on this, I'm not, it seems like you understand what those committees are. You think you do anyway till you get on them. But one, thank you to all of you for wanting to be serving on this board and these committees. It is a commitment, and you'll be working closely with people, so it's nice to know where your interests are for whoever that president's going to be. And you've got, looks like, two strong candidates for president. And keep in mind that no matter what's on this sheet, you can always nominate somebody. So if you really feel when you go home tonight, you know, I really wish I would have put a 5 down for this one, let somebody know that. So you can nominate yourself, but it's always nice if somebody nominates on your behalf. So even though you've all filled that out, that's not set in stone. So other than that, is there anybody that wants to have any discussion on any of the committees or positions? Do you understand? I mean, the strongest position, and this might sound bad, the president really sets the tone for you. So when you pick your president, That's the person that's going to represent you with the media for the most part. It's going to make decisions on behalf of you. It's going to represent you legally. And I can tell you, and over the last 2 months, I spent a lot of time with legal, more than I would have liked to, but we went through some difficult times. But it worked out well. Your president's going to be the person that really talks with Sue and whoever comes after Sue. As you know, you're going to have a really tough decision to make here as to who is going to be that new superintendent on July 1st, or are we going to find a superintendent for July 1st and have to find a temporary or an interim? Because it's too important of a decision to make in haste. And so I would caution you, going back to my school board experience years ago, I wish we would have stepped back and said, let's start over. And that goes back in time before some of you were probably even born. But so you got a lot ahead of you. When you pick that president, that's your person that's going to do a lot of your leadership stuff. I would. That's my son. I'm not cautioning you, but I'm recommending you. Please be careful when you talk to the press and to people in the community that you're not stepping on each other's toes as you move forward. You are the Magnificent Seven, and think that way as a group. It's okay to disagree, but at the end of the day, if you feel strongly about something and the vote on the board is 5-2 or 6-1, you voted as a board for that. And if you were the dissenter, really the answer is, the board made a decision to go in this direction. And if someone says to you, well, but you didn't go that way, I had a different opinion, but the board, I respect the board, and we made a decision to go that way. That's how you do things in a cooperative way. Doesn't mean you agree or are going to disagree at any point, but please remember you are a group of people working together. And when you go through the election process, I've been on both sides of that. I've been the loser more than I've been the winner. But you still respect the people around you because each of you have to make a decision in favor of one person over the other. And that's just the way the world works. So I've probably spoken way too long. So if you have any comments, that's great. Otherwise, that's all we got on this agenda. So anybody, John, go ahead.
Actually, I'd like to just take a moment and say, Jeff, thank you for all your leadership. And I think that, as I've sat here over the last year and actually next to you as VP, your experience, I think, goes an awful long ways for all of us. I mean, just going back over the years and your willingness to obviously admit your faults at times, and I think that's what we're all going to be making mistakes along the way here, and you will. All of you as new board members, you're going to say stuff or you'll do things, and later on you'll think about it and reflect upon it and say, I was really probably in the wrong on that. And that's okay, because we all make mistakes, and we're not perfect here, but that's why we're a group of 7 working together. And thank you, Jeff, from the bottom of my heart, as far as providing your guidance over the last few months and over the last year and giving all of us here a great experience.
Well, thank you. And then, a good example of John is, Amy, you changed my mind when you came to the school board meeting that night. I had a preset idea on something, and because I listened to what you had to say, I completely flipped. And so it does make a difference if you come into the board and you listen. And because I'm one of those guys that I make up my mind, but then I listen. And you made a difference that night, a big difference. So I do want to thank you, John, Kyle, Megan, Pam, Charles, Stephanie, who did I miss? Wendy, because you left the room. But it's been an honor and a privilege. I do want to welcome again Spencer, Maria, and Amy. You're going to be great board members. So with that, I will take a motion. Sue?
Items to share.
Sure. I didn't see you on the agenda, but go right ahead because you're the superintendent.
It's for you. I had a conversation today, Joanne and I, with WASB on the superintendent search, and that we have 13 candidates, and we wanted to discuss with them the process of moving those candidates' application to WASB. And our closing date is the 30th, and we just wanted to make sure that they got all candidates and that process happened. And then I was able to ask. Oh, I'm sorry. I was able to ask them about the planning meeting that we've been talking about having, and I said, could we get some dates from you next week on some possible times? They need a 2-hour time slot to do that planning meeting with you, and he is available Wednesday, Thursday. He said he would do Saturday if that works for people too. So that's something that you'll need to decide. We'll have Michelle send a communication out to you, and if you could then let her know which of those dates would be available for you to do that planning meeting. That is on the superintendent search.
Do the three have their email addresses for school yet or not?
Make sure that they do before they leave.
So you could do a doodle for them for that? Because I did, thank you, Sue, for reminding me. You need to decide really to have a planning meeting with the WSB for your superintendent search sooner than later. So hopefully one of those dates next week works out for everybody. So you'll do that doodle thing. So, okay. Megan?
Just a quick question. So I think a couple weeks ago when we brought this up, we all agreed that we want to do this planning meeting, but we also agreed that we wanted to meet as a new board, I think, before that, so that we could kind of get on the same page, set a vision. So I'm wondering if, Michelle, when we send out that doodle, if we could, I know it's a lot of meetings in 1 week, potentially, but if everybody here would be okay with that, having kind of like that new board orientation retreat, and then maybe a subsequent planning meeting with WASB, is that something that is amenable to everybody?
What I would recommend that you do would be next Tuesday, you hold a board meeting prior to the regularly scheduled meeting for maybe half an hour to talk about the issues of your timeline. What do you want to do with the search? How do you want to do it? So I think that's the way I would do it, Megan. With the new board, though, I would because it's the new board's needs to do this. So you would still be vice president at that time, so you'd run that meeting. So I would recommend, if you're going to, what time is the meeting set for next Tuesday? It's going to be at 6, 7, you know? Because that's your regular, usually that's a 7 o'clock meeting, normally, a TV meeting, but the way things have been going, we've moved it up. But when that meeting is set, then you should set a meeting up probably half an hour prior to your main meeting to do what you just said. I think it's a great idea. Amy, go ahead.
If I'm hearing Megan correctly, and jump in if I missed something, the board retreat, to me, it makes more sense because it seems like a lot of pertinent topics are going to be covered there, is that it's not just before the meeting, that we have the board retreat where we can set our norms and then have time to digest it before we move into this meeting with WASB, et cetera.
Your retreat would be a different meeting, Amy. This would just be setting your expectations out as to how do you want to handle the superintendent search, working with WASB and things like that. But your workshop will be a more intense, probably 3-4 hours on a Saturday or something like that. But you could actually have that before you start your superintendent meeting, because you're going to want to have all your applications come in, which I think are they still do the 30th?
They are, and he is asking for a 2-hour planning meeting. And he would like that next week because we're just losing time.
If I may, yeah, I don't know if there's any conflict, and I know this is a little last minute because it's Thursday already, but I would be available this weekend if anybody for our new board, I don't want to put any pressure here because I don't know what the administrative implication is, so you let me know, Sue. Would it be too soon to do something this weekend?
I would not be available, Megan.
Okay, I meant like kind of for our thing, and that way we could schedule one of the days next week for the 2 hours.
Yeah, why don't you get your first meeting under your belt on Tuesday? If you want to meet before that for half an hour, just to kind of talk things out about when you want to do your retreat, how do you want to handle the planning session with WSB, that way you can set your expectation. Although I would do the doodle thing with the WSB tomorrow, have that out tomorrow, because it's so important to get that process started. Anybody else wanted to?
Yeah.
Kyle?
Would it be possible, if you're going to put down both Wednesday and Thursday, if we're all available on Wednesday, would it be possible to meet as a board retreat, set our norms, and then do the planning meeting on Thursday? 'Cause you're going to ask for both days, right? Which, yeah.
I was going to say the same thing. I think that would, I mean, I'm working, I would be willing to request a day off or two to do that.
So we're talking about a 5-hour time frame? I mean, because that's going to involve the retreat itself is probably going to be 3 hours minimum, I would think. Yep. Okay, just wanted to clarify that.
Anybody else? John?
Question, Sue, I know there's been some discussion about topics and things like that for the retreat. I guess I would want to be respectful of your time and effort as well, because I don't want to just throw this stuff together and have a retreat just because we said we need to have a retreat. And I guess, what's the time frame that's respectable for you for preparation?
I'm sorry. Next Wednesday and Thursday, all afternoon, I am committed to we are doing final interviews for our principal positions. So I am booked like 11:30 to 5, both Wednesday and Thursday. So I love the opportunity of like doing a full day, but I'm booked at that time.
Megan, I got Maria waiting first, so.
I was just wondering, like, what are the time frames? Because that's like important for scheduling for myself. Like, is it in the morning? Is it in the afternoon, in the evenings? What is the plan?
I think you really need to do your doodle because some of you have jobs that may not be as flexible as others. So I think you need to do the doodle on the times because you're not going to decide that right now. So why don't you send the doodle out with the different things and times for people to look at tomorrow and make the best decision that you can.
And as you're thinking, I think what Mr. Neerad was suggesting was a Wednesday evening, Thursday evening, or any time on Saturday. Those were his available times, and I would have those available also on the Wednesday and Thursday, and of course on Saturday.
Okay. Megan, you wanted?
I apologize, Maria, I didn't see your thingy. Okay, so can I ask the board, would we be comfortable meeting for a couple hours, and I don't, like, whatever day or time works best for everybody, it's fine. Maybe just asking that also in the doodle, just as a board, so that we can kind of at least sort of be same page about what our expectations are for the superintendent before we actually sit down and have that conversation with WASB, then do the 2-hour thing with WASB, and then we can kind of do like a part 2 with our administrators on a different day, because I echo John's concern. I want to make sure that we're respecting our administrators' time. Yes.
So I don't know if you feel that you want to do that outside of this process, but he would like to do that with you.
Yeah, why don't you do the doodle thing? Forget about the half hour before the next board meeting. Have your board meeting, if you got to have it because that's your regular scheduled meeting. And you, even though we did, I don't know, even at the board, you did your official swearing in. We've always done it on the TV meeting, the traditional TV meeting, which people are probably expecting. So you probably should do it again because that's when people expect it. And you probably should do the 7 o'clock because that's what our history has been. Anybody else want to add a comment? If not, I'd take a motion to adjourn.
Mr.
Stephanie, go ahead.
No, Mr. President. No, I'm just feeling quite frustrated because I only hear part of the meeting. It's just been going in and out. So I don't know, what exactly are we voting on now?
To adjourn. I'm waiting for a motion to adjourn.
Oh, that's, okay, thank you.
Did I get one?
Motion to adjourn?
I make a,
Second.
As long as nobody's opposed to adjourning, all in favor say aye. Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.